So hey guys, what's going on? Today we're going to be talking about some updates done to the Castlevania collection. Just a real quick video, I just wanted to bring it to your guys' attention, so if you're like waiting on this or something. But they did some changes, and it's pretty cool, so let's get in there. So, one of the first major changes is M2 worked on the emulation, and there was an issue with the emulation on Castlevania 1, where Castlevania 1 would have this like high-pitched beep, especially in the second level music. So right here's where it would beep. Sounds fine. Sounds great. So what would happen before is when it would hit that level, or another place it would do is like when you would beat a level and you would hit the globe to beat the level, and it would start counting down your hearts and everything. You would just get this random like high-pitched beep, like this beep, or like this beep, you know, like really high. So it seems like they fixed the emulation there, which is great. That's what I wanted. So a lot of people don't know this, but on Castlevania 3, if you hold down select and AB, if you can get your hands there, and press start, you get this menu. And this menu is just a sound test or a music player, essentially. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play Beginning and Clockwork, which is the clock tower music, and let you guys get it built up in your mind. Sounds like what we're used to, right? Alright. Cool. We got the idea, right? So in Japan, the Japanese version of Castlevania 3, because the Famicom had a different cart connector and it was designed slightly different, we were supposed to get a disc system in the US, and it had the connector on the bottom, and at the last minute they pulled that plan. But we had a 72-pin connector, and the way that worked is because the disc system we were supposed to get was supposed to be interfacing through a port on the bottom, we had more like pass-through through the cart connector instead of a direct connection to the CPU sound chip and stuff like that. So in Japan, they actually had a thing that went into the cartridge slot for a disk system to get access to all the hardware on the Famicom. Well, the problem with that is we can't get extra sound chips and stuff in the US because of the way they designed the NES. So in Japan, they put an extra sound chip in specifically for the music. As far as I know, that chip also is pulling off some extra effects and stuff, but it's really mostly just there doing music. And the music sounds quite a bit different. Now, why do I mention all this? Well, if you've updated your Castlevania collection and you go all the way down past Kid Dracula in the bonus book, there's Japanese versions of the games. And, of course, there's Castlevania 3. So let's go ahead and do the sound test. And you can hear the difference already. So this is one of the effects that it did. It was like the cloud thing, which it didn't do on the US version. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. So let's do our code. Alright, and we'll play some music here. That sounds so much better. Alright, so what I have is, I have something loaded up and saved. Seems great, right? Well, now that the US emulation is stable, I'm finding that some of the emulation on Castlevania 3 is a little bit off. So let's just get into it, and I'll show you guys what I mean. Alright, right here, watch the door. It'll jump. See that little jump it does? So it's not perfect. I'm not really complaining. Here's the kind of cool thing, though, that I can tell you now, is that I had a problem with before. is some of these games won't allow you to remap the controls. However, it's not all of them. You can't remap the controls on the Bloodlines game, the Genesis game, or the Super Nintendo game. And I don't think you can on the Game Boy games, just the NES games. So this is still effectively useless because what I wanted to do with this M2 is have a place to not only map all the buttons on all the games, but map them so I could map where the menu goes to, so I can do my save and reload, because I have one of these. This is the NES controller that came with, or you could get for the online games and stuff, and I got 2 of these for $60. I know it's not your thing, M2. I know you're not like responsible for this, but I would very much like to use this, and it would be nice if you would make it so I could remap the buttons, so I could put like this menu on like L and then like R for like other stuff, so I could like actually use this not only in the NES games, but because like right now as it stands, I have to go out, I have to go all the way over here, change grip order. I can use it, I'll give you credit for that. There it goes. But then to have a home button or any of that, I obviously have to pair a second controller, which is fine. Well, I don't care. But now that I'm in here, and I can use this obviously in here, see? Like, works fine until I'm, out. Oh, nope. I can't go back into the menu because you didn't give me the option to map it. And all these games have more than enough buttons, or all these games don't have enough buttons to like. This has technically 4 buttons on it. It has the 2 NES action buttons, which I would use most of the time in any of these games, and the 2 shoulder buttons up here. It would be nice if developers would just take like, the time, which isn't very much to ask, and make it available so that these classic games work with this guy. Because I know I ain't the only one that paid money for this, and I would like to use it. And it feels so right, especially playing these NES games. I would like to go into the menu and save my state, instead of having to go out, repair my controller, back and forth. Because things like switching the character and stuff, it feels more natural on the NES controller than it does even on the Pro controller. I keep on like taking snapshots by accident. So pretty cool. I'm really excited to see that. Let's show one other game that has some slight differences real quick. This is Super Castlevania in Japan. The other stuff, I'm sure they have differences. That's why they're there. I'm just not... I don't really know what they are. Oh, I screwed it up. So some of the major differences on this, it isn't much. The game's mostly the same. Where on Castlevania 3, it plays quite a bit different in Japan than it did in the US. Some of the characters, like the little like humpback guys that jump around, or flea men that they called them. So here you can see there's a puddle of blood dripping on the floor. So they were really anti-blood in the United States at the time on video games, so we didn't get this kick-ass logo. Now if you look at the lettering real close, it's a little bit different. I'm just going to go right into it. And you can see it looks different up at top. It's supposed to be more like a blood red and everything. See, I'm getting my buttons all screwed up already. The other difference is the whip. Once it's a chain, it sounds more like a chain on the Japanese version of this game. And then there's slight differences here, like I remember this jaw bridge sounding a little bit different. Oh no, it actually doesn't at all. I don't know why I remember that. So this is all great and everything. The problem with the font, which there doesn't seem to be any issue right now, or the color of the font. I'll show you. Alright, here we are in the stalactite cavern, whatever you want to call it, and I mean, you can read it. It's not the easiest thing to read, but when there's an obstacle up there or something, it's a little hard to see. That's one of the reasons that he changed it. And here you can see there's no blood dripping from the thing. So, and now you can see how the lettering is a little bit different colored and whatnot. And it makes it a hell of a lot easier to read, especially in situations like that. Now you'll see that it sounds like a whip all the time. Like they got rid of the chain sound. I don't know why they got rid of the chain sound. I don't know if there was like can't imagine it'd be for memory. Don't remember why I thought thinking that sounded different. It sounded so much better with the chain sound to me. Anyways, that's some of the major differences on that. Really cool. Castlevania was a big deal to me growing up because there was 2 games that really made me want to get a Nintendo as a kid, like really badly. So there used to be like a store called Best, store chain, and if you're incredibly, advanced in age like I am, you probably remember that. And they didn't have a kiosk, they just had 13-inch TVs that they unboxed an NES and a Sega Master System right next to each other and put them like on a pegboard shelf. And that's how they were showing the systems off. So any kid could have just walked in there, took the card out of the system, and walked off with it. But different time. Anyways, that's how I first played Super Mario Brothers, and I played, what was it? Jungle Hunt, I think, and Hang On was like another pack-in on the Sega Master System. And when you had Super Mario Brothers compared to Hang On, they didn't really pair up, for pack-in games. And so I begged my mom for NES, and what we ended up doing was renting one first. So we got this big cardboard box with an NES with all the cables like all tangled together like a rat's nest and everything. And I don't remember why, but Super Mario Brothers was not available to rent. And I'm like, if you're a kid and you're renting, or you have an NES and you're renting games, why are you renting Super Mario Brothers? And the only thing I can think of all these years later is they had multiple systems or something like that. And we'll go ahead and turn that off so it doesn't drive you guys nuts. And yeah, so I couldn't. It boggled the mind that it wasn't available to rent. But anyways, they have Super Mario Brothers. So the 2 games we got was Kung Fu, and there wasn't many choices. Kung Fu and Castlevania. And I'd never heard of these games. I didn't know if I was going to like these. I wanted to play Super Mario Brothers. Went home, popped in Kung Fu. It was cool. I like the sound effects, like the da 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 and all that stuff, right? Then pop in Castlevania, and my mind is blown. And this is even like, I'm like, there's more games like on the same par as Mario Brother, if not even better. Because in my mind at the time, I liked Castlevania more than Mario Brothers. As Mario Brothers matured into Super Mario Brothers 3 and Super Mario World and stuff, that's when I really started liking that series. But Castlevania was a big deal to me, and then of course we got Castlevania 2, and it was completely different. I was like, what the fuck is this? But then Castlevania 3 redeemed it, so I was okay with that. But yeah, I mean, it was such a big part, and I love having this collection, and I love that they're pouring this kind of work into it, and I hope that somebody like Limited Run or something gets like Konami lets them put like a physical copy of it out or something like that, because I'm Castlevania nuts, to the point where like people worked on it, like Igarashi, I think is how you say his name, the guy that did like Symphony of the Night, who's like the main head director, and like a lot of people did like the other like stage work and stuff like that on it, all went over to create this new series Bloodstained when they went off of Konami. And so they raised the Kickstarter, started Bloodstained. I have the first game, the 8-bit game, which is like $10. And it's basically a play on Castlevania 3 with like the different characters and stuff. And it is fantastic. And Bloodstained comes out tomorrow. And I have it pre-ordered. And I'm going to get it. I have work tomorrow. But we will try our best to play some Bloodstain on this channel. So, with that being said, you guys have a good night. It was just a happy message just to say, hey, Castlevania 3 is, and to tell a little bit of story about Castlevania and why I love the series so much, and how excited I am for Bloodstain tomorrow. Because until Zelda came out, until Breath of the Wild came out, Symphony of the Night was my number one game of all time. Now it's number two. That's okay, but I'm expecting good things from Bloodstained. Kind of sucks that Switch owners had to wait a week. I hope it's not broke as shit. So, anyways, you guys have a good night. Thumbs up, all that fun stuff. Hugs and kisses, whatever. Bye.